South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching? This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Final day of June here on Sports by the Book. And for everyone out there, I'm Jeff Parles. She is Alex White. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday indeed. Short week for us. We're going to take America's birthday off as well, along with the rest of you out there at home. Looking forward to that. And then we're back with a regular schedule next week. So, Alex, before we get to our guy, Dwayne Kawuchi, who we'll get to in about 3 to 5 minutes from now, do a quick check at a Major League Baseball standings after a weekend of action. And since we're at the end of June and we are now blasting through the midway point of this Major League Baseball season, we'll start in the National League, which we've talked about compact. And you see right now, there's no compaction in the NL West anymore. The Dodgers have opened this up. They've gotten hot. They have the best record in the NL. They have tied with the Tigers for the best record overall in baseball. They have a 7-game lead in the NL West. For all intents and purposes, and I hate to do this on not even July 1st, the NL West race is done. The Dodgers are going to win the West again. It's just a matter of will they hold on to the number 1 seed yet again in the National League or not. But then you look at across the rest of the board. You look at the NL Central, the Cubs losing 2 out of 3 in Houston this past weekend. Their lead's down to 2 after the Brewers swept the Colorado Rockies. The Cardinals sweeping their series over the weekend over the Cleveland Guardians have gotten within 2.5 games. Even the Reds are within 5 in the NL Central right now, Alex.
It's very interesting, and Jeff Fogel did a great write-up kind of looking at these teams and these powerhouses in the National League and how many games they have left against lesser opponents. And the Cardinals are very intriguing. 25 games left in the second half where they could really gain some speed here, move up in the standings at least to grab a wild card spot. So Cubs still have 12, really have to take care of business, and all of those Brewers 18. So have a little bit of leeway there over Chicago if they can take advantage. But it's going to be very interesting throughout this second half to see. I mean, really, the East, Phillies and Mets keep jumping back and forth, as you said would happen, and now the Central is pretty compact.
Phillies take a 1.5 game lead. The Mets just continue to play poor baseball, 3-13 in their last 16. They get outscored 30-4 by the Pirates of all teams over the weekend in an embarrassing sweep. Much needed off day for New York today. But again, if you look at the full NL standings at the moment, the Mets, the Brewers, and the Cardinals, your 3 wild card teams. It would be a rematch of last year's 3-game series of the Mets and the Brewers at the moment. St. Louis would go to Chicago. Boy, would that be fun if we happen to get that on the NL side of things. Well, we will not be taking that for you guys at home right now. You're just going to have to roll out, and I'm telling you the truth right now in the National League standings. AL side real quick, Alex, before we get to our friend Dwayne Kawuchi. Really, the biggest thing from the weekend is that the Tigers just have now romped the lead up to 11.5 games in the American League Central. I forget the all intents and purposes. That race is over. No one else in that division is going to be capable, even with 3 months to go, of making up a double-digit lead. Detroit, at this point, find a way to get the 1 seed and get your starters ready to go and see if maybe if you can add even a second gigantic garden behind Scooble.
Yeah.
Look at the Astros. Astros 6.5 up after their series win against the Cubs on Seattle now.
And really, that's the biggest takeaway for me. Astros now 50 wins on the year and holding a little bit of a little ticket on the Tigers to win the AL. I'm a little worried. I think that Houston's the real deal. I love their pitching staff, and now that they're really starting to swing the bats and make contact and can put some runs on the board, I think they are definitely live to win this conference.
A 5-1 week against the Phillies and the Cubs for Houston. So that handling business against 2 of the NL's best.
Yeah.
And then you see on the far side of your screen, well, you did see on the far side of your screen, the Yankees only a 1.5 games clear of the Tampa Bay Rays right now. And the Yankees begin a 3-game set against Toronto, start a 4-game set with a 3-game lead on Toronto. That begins tonight north of the border. So again, compact in the AL, a little more mediocrity in this AL race right now. Seattle does hold that 3rd wild card because guess what? There are only 6 teams in the American League with a record above 500 entering the final day of June, realistically saying. Actually, it is the facts because the Angels don't play today. There will only be 6 teams with an above 500 record in the American League in play beginning July.
This conference is interesting because I can imagine it just finishing just like this, right? Not a whole lot of teams that I do believe in, even though, the Rangers are a really good organization. You would think they'd have a shot. I mean, just 2 games back there from Seattle, but I just don't like what I've seen from them. And then looking at other teams, we've been waiting for the Royals all year long. Not sure if that's going to happen. Boston really struggling offensively. I like the teams where they're at right now and maybe a little bit of movement, but you're right. I do think the Tigers and the Astros definitely have those divisions.
We're going to take a 1-minute break. We're going to get off set. Dwayne Kawuchi will be with us in a moment. More baseball. We lost Dwayne Lucas over the weekend, so we'll get Dwayne's thoughts on one of the best to ever do it as a horse trainer and much more here on a Monday when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over $13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio on a Monday. Jeff Parles, Alex White, and now joining us, our good friend Dwayne Kawuchi, Race and Sportsbook Director up at the Rampart, D.C. Good morning.
What's up, guys? Good morning here in fabulous Las Vegas.
The very steamy Las Vegas here today. Going to be the hottest few days of the year over the next few days, leading into Independence Day on Friday. Dwayne, I want to start, before we get to baseball and other stuff, I just want to start. We obviously know your background with horse racing and how great of a job you guys do up at the Rampart. But I just want to start. We yesterday, the passing of one of the best to ever do it as a horse trainer, Dwayne Lucas, passed away at the age of 89. One of the most successful guys to ever do it, and also Dwayne, one of the great gentlemen of the sport as well in horse racing.
Yeah, definitely a tremendous loss. Basically, Dwayne Lucas set the standard for guys like Todd Pletcher and all the trainers that we are synonymous with now. And he was definitely the forefather, basically, and one of the leading examples. I mean, unbelievable, multiple Eclipse Award winner, Hall of Fame trainer. I believe he won the Kentucky Derby 3 or 4 times, the Preakness like 7 times. Eclipse Award, like I said, he was money leading trainer from, I believe it was like 84 to 92. He was just phenomenal. He had an association with Eugene Klein, which was tremendous. Just so many great, fabulous racehorses, and a tremendous loss for the horse racing game. And it happened so quickly. I mean, he was put into hospice care early last week, and before you know it, he was gone. And just a tragedy and a tragic loss. Dwayne was a little older, but he was still very active. You could see the last couple of years he had some really nice horses, some nice fillies, won the Kentucky Oaks, and therefore, and so forth. But it was shocking. And like I said, the lineage: Todd Pletcher, the Mike Makers, Dallas Stewart. All these guys that worked and were assistants under Dwayne Lucas and now have successful training careers. And it's all because of him. And the tremendous racehorses, too. The Lady Secrets, the Steinlands, just champion after champion. And a real credit. And we know what happened with his son, who was, he was going to pass the torch to Jeff, but that was a tragedy in itself when, he received brain damage just getting hit in the head, clipped by Tabasco Cat with the heel. And, it changed the whole scenario of the Lucas barn. But, Dwayne continued on, and up until last week, it's just so shocking and tremendous loss, like we said, across the horse racing landscape. I mean, so many Breeders' Cup victories. This guy was a legend, if not one of the greatest trainers ever to, train racehorses. And actually, he started with quarter horses, similar to Bob Baffert. So, he had a quarter horse lineage and a tremendous, tremendous stable from the 80s through the 90s. He was the monster and definitely the dominating trainer. And everybody knows Dwayne Lucas if you're, into the horse racing game.
Just want to real quick, Dwayne. When my dad was doing work with the with Naira in the early part of the millennium, can't say decade anymore because we're talking like 20 some odd years ago. I couldn't have been older than 10, 11 years old. We were at Saratoga. We were in the paddock. I forgot. It was a race that Rick Violet Jr. was running, and my dad was good friends with Rick when he worked for the Horse Racing Association. And my dad introduced me to Dwayne Lucas, who was just sitting on a bench getting ready for one of the races on a steamy afternoon on a July or August day in central New York. And right before a race, Dwayne Lucas sat down with me and we talked horses for 10 minutes as a 10-year-old kid. It was one of the most amazing experiences you ever have as a small kid. So I just wanted to say, just a wonderful gentleman. Not many people would do that in any avenue of life. So definitely honored Mr. Lucas's memory here today. And as you said, one of the best to ever do it, Dwayne.
Yeah, definitely 20 Breeders' Cup wins, and he just always had kind words. That's a great story, Jeff. He always had time for people that wanted to talk about horse racing. He was just such a class act, and he was a tall man. He stood out when you're in the paddock.
He was a big guy.
Yeah, he definitely stood out, and he just had a glow and a manner about him, and it just set a precedent. He was the dominating trainer throughout the 80s and 90s, and he was before the Bob Bafferts and the Chad Browns, like I say. So keep that in mind. I mean, he set the gold standard. And like we said, so many great racehorses that, I can't even think of them all. And 20 Breeders' Cup winners, it's just a phenomenal accomplishment. And, definitely condolences, thoughts, and prayers out to the Lucas family. Definitely loved and will be sorely missed during the Triple Crown runs, this Saratoga meeting, and, so many different meetings. Churchill Downs, did a beautiful, it was heartbreaking yesterday, but a tribute to a legend. And this man will always be a legend with horse racing and synonymous with horse racing. I had my Champions Daily Racing Form book out yesterday, and I was looking and I couldn't believe how many horses that this man trained and was so successful. And, I've seen so many of them run. I'm really proud that I was so into horse racing, back in those early 80s when he was dominating and the Breeders' Cup came around, and, just to watch him win so much money. And like I said, Eugene Klein owned the Chargers at that point and, invested a ton of money. And, a businessman like that, if he wasn't sure he was going to definitely accomplish something with Dwayne Lucas, he was not going to invest that much money, but he did, and they had a tremendous partnership in horse racing. And like we said, Lucas, up until his passing, was training and was on the track up until early last week.
Dwayne, I'm going to move over to baseball here while you were listening to us with our intro, and Jeff kind of declared the NL East over with the Dodgers. I want to know.
Hold on, not the NL East. Not the NL East.
NL West with the Dodgers. Curious your thoughts on that, if that makes you a little bit worried, or what really, I think the Diamondbacks are out of it. Padres, Giants, what do they have to do to actually compete with the Dodgers for this division?
You have to win series against them, Alex. It's simple. You got to beat the Dodgers. That's the whole thing. To be the man, you got to beat the man. So, definitely the Dodgers, they look pretty solid, I got to say. Jeff is right. You have 14 pitchers on the injured list, and you're still able to have a 7-game lead over some strong teams like San Diego and San Francisco. And we look at that graphic. We kind of knew the Cubs were playing over their head, and now they're starting to come back to the pack. I think Milwaukee and St. Louis, because of the way the schedule is structured, definitely have a chance. And even Cincinnati to pass the Cubs and or at least get up to where they are and get into the wild card position. The Mets, they lost what, Jeff, 15 and 18.
It's 3 and 13 in their last 16. It's amazing they're only a game and a half behind. So. Yeah.
Right. That's, they still have a chance. They're playing horrible. They had a closed door team meeting and they came out and got destroyed by the Pirates again. So, I mean, they really have to get a vibe going there. Lindor has to be the team leader. Juan Soto has taken a back seat. I told you, I don't really like his attitude playing for the Mets. He was much more prominent, playing for the other teams that he had played for in the past, even the New York Yankees with Aaron Judge there. This man has to step up. He has to get a little outspoken. The pitching will come back around. They'll get healthy. And I'm not sold on the Phillies. They're a solid team, but you just saw them get dismantled in the past week. So that's why the Mets are only a game and a half out on this tremendous, torrid losing streak. And, it all started with that interleague series against Tampa Bay. And Tampa has now carried momentum to where they're only a game and a half behind the New York Yankees. So, I definitely think the Dodgers are the best team in the National League. Ohtani is just a phenomenal two-way player now. It's amazing. You see him hit 102 mile per hour while he's pitching. Just a phenomenal talent. The Dodgers are going to be in the playoffs, so you're going to have to beat this team. They're the World Series champions, and you could see that the mix is hot and heavy. I mean, even if you go down to Miami, 8.5, Atlanta, 8, these teams could definitely make up some ground. I think Arizona is a little suspect, but San Diego and San Francisco, they'll be hungry, and especially when they play the Dodgers. You saw what happened against San Diego, throwing at heads and violence and, two managers barking at each other. So, San Diego and how their mentality is when they play the Dodgers. They go for a killer instinct attitude, but it doesn't work out that way. They're knocking it up with victory. So getting back to that, Alex, they have to win games against the Dodgers to make up ground. That's what San Francisco and San Diego have to do.
Yeah, we didn't even mention in the open, and I meant to, the red-hot Miami Marlins all of a sudden, who are
unbelievable.
only a half game behind Atlanta. Whatever, they're irrelevant in the long scheme of things. But hey, they just swept San Francisco and Arizona, and now you see the full NL playoff picture right now. I don't think anyone in their right mind thought, oh, you know what, the NL Central, maybe if things go right, the Cubs and the Brewers can sneak in. I don't think anyone thought that 4 of the 5 in the NL Central would have a realistic shot here. Reds only 2.5 behind St. Louis. It is a compact NL from number 6 to number 9 in the league. And Arizona, again, Diamondbacks really missed Corbin Carroll already. Showed up this past weekend against Miami. Dwayne, you touched on the AL very quickly. I just want to go over there because Alex and I talked about it in the open. The AL Central's look, I understand it's June 30th, a lot can happen, but it would take something cataclysmic for Detroit not to win the American League Central at this point. Houston's in control, 6.5 up in the AL West, but you touched on it. I don't think a lot of us thought the AL East would be the most competitive race in the American League, but here we are. Tampa's been awesome over the last month, only a game and a half behind the Yankees, and the Blue Jays start a 4-gamer with the Bronx Bombers north of the border tonight. That is the only real big-time race in the AL right now as we enter July tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. The Central fell apart. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, all these teams were over 500, and now they're all below, Cleveland, Minnie, and Kansas City. So, Detroit has pretty much solidified their position as the best team in the, the American League Central. The Yankees, it was good to see Stroman come back, get a little, some arms healthy. That's what they need. They definitely are the best team in the East. They just have to put it all together. And, they're playing very suspect, similar to the Mets. Not losing as much, but losing games that they should win, getting blown out early in games. I mean, Oakland was able to get some big leads early in that series. So you have to keep your eye on the Yankees. Judge has got to really get a little hotter. You have to have Stanton healthy. LeMahieu, he has to start hitting, which he's shown some signs. And, definitely the rest of those guys have to chip in and play solid ball, guys like Volpe and et cetera. Weaver's back, so that's a positive sign as well. Definitely they have a chance to return to the World Series, but there's a lot to be done. Detroit is very tough, and Detroit has arms. Houston is playing the best baseball out of any team in baseball right now, in my opinion. And, they're solidifying their position as they open up a 6-7 game lead. And like Alex said earlier, the disappointing team is Texas. You expect a lot more, but yet they're only 2.5 out of the wild card just because you only have, 6 teams that are above 500 in the American League, whereas the National League has 9, 10 if you count Arizona, who's like 1 game under. So, the National League has had more prominent teams, I will say, and has been a tougher landscape. But if you look at this, you go down to even Team 10 and 7 games out, which is less than what Miami and Atlanta are out in that playoff picture. So, yeah, I think Detroit did solidify their position in the division. I think Houston is going to win the West. The East, we didn't think it would be the most competitive, but it's turning out to be. And Tampa is very hot. They've carried that momentum from the interleague series of the Mets, and it continues on. And that was, 3-4 weeks ago. So now we'll see when it comes to crunch time, the second half of the season, if the Yankees could flip the switch and turn it up. And I think they can. They're definitely going to be the team to beat. Big series, though, starts tonight, and their bats better be, warmed up, because Toronto could definitely hit the ball.
Dwayne, there was a trade in the NFL this morning that at least caught me a little bit off guard. Steelers and Dolphins. There have been a lot of rumblings about Jonnu Smith getting traded from Miami to Pittsburgh, but he was not the key piece of this deal. He was actually arguably the third most important name in this trade. Pittsburgh gets Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, and a late-round draft pick in the 2027 draft. Miami gets Minkah Fitzpatrick back. A little bit interesting because, of course, Fitzpatrick was traded to Pittsburgh just a few years ago from the Dolphins, and another late-round pick goes back to Miami. Dwayne, I know everyone's going to say that this is a great trade for Pittsburgh and all the yada yada stuff. I'm more interested on the Miami end of things, where this just feels like this is a train that is completely caromed off the tracks before this season has even started for the Miami Dolphins. Just curious your thoughts, either perspective, but I'm totally opposite of basically what the whole world is going to take away from this trade.
Well, now you know why Buffalo's 1-5 to win that division.
They're only 1-5 now, Dwayne?
It's getting up there, trust me. And Miami is totally falling apart. So, I don't know what they do in their front office. I don't think it's a good trade. You're giving Pittsburgh what they were lacking was good pass defense last year, and their defense was monstrous. I mean, I think they had like 9 touchdowns or something. So, I don't understand. You're making a team in the AFC better than what they were last year with Pittsburgh, and I just don't understand what Miami is doing. You would think they're like pushing Tyreek Hill's buttons because, he's just coming into camp. He's all stoked, ready to go, wants to prove all the, experts and skeptics. But, now they got rid of Fitzpatrick, like you said. What are they doing getting him back? And, it is a weird trade, in my opinion. I think Pittsburgh is going to be a very tough team like they were last year, in the division with Baltimore, with Joe Burrow in that division. That's a monstrous, stacked division. And the AFC is very wide open with Kansas City, Buffalo. You have all these good teams. You're waiting for somebody to dethrone the Chiefs. And there might be a team available this year if the Chiefs slip and have some stutter steps. And, definitely Pittsburgh will be one of them chomping at the bit. And now you're improving their pass defense, which you don't want to really add assets to teams if you're in the AFC. I mean, trade the guy to the NFC. What would it hurt? I don't understand the logistics of this trade and what Miami is thinking. Just like you said, Jeff, it seems like the wheels have fallen off the cart.
Keeping it with the offseason here and some trades. I want to go to the ice, though, with hockey. And first, starting with your team with Montreal, big trade for them, getting Noah Dobson, and pretty big contract for him. Are you excited about that and anything else that they've done since the draft and everything?
Yeah, we fleeced the Islanders right there. I think that was a great trade. I mean, the 16 and 17 picks aren't going to be good for 3 or 4 years. So Montreal is in a young phase. This is a young defenseman. He fits right into the mix. It takes some pressure off Lane Hudson, who is going to have a monster season next year, is second in the NHL. You're getting Demidov now for a full season. Cole Caulfield. They're still looking to swing some trades too, Alex. They were trying to get Jordan Kyrou, and a trade getting done there for Matheson. We'll see how that plays out. They say they may need a third team in that. And also, I've heard rumblings about a package deal possibly with Cole Caulfield trying to lure maybe Connor McDavid to Montreal. So, the Canadiens are doing a lot of positive things. They looked great last year. I think they need to solidify the goaltending, though. We're not going to have a goalie like we had in Carey Price. Sam Montembeault is very good, but, if he is not healthy, you saw the tremendous drop-off in the playoffs. Once he went down, they were eliminated by the Capitals. But Montreal is very, very deep. Their core is so young. They have a great coach in St. Louis, and sky's the limit with this team. They're going to definitely improve. And, you see I'm wearing my Vegas Golden Knights hat. There's been rumblings about Mitch Marner, but now, it got a little weird when Toronto was saying there was collusion and trying to get in touch with him personally. You don't know. I don't think the Vegas Golden Knights are actually going to land Mitch Marner, but if they do, that's a massive acquisition. The problem was putting the puck in the back of the net in the playoffs, and now you solidify that. They're going to have Petro off the books because he's going to be out on long-term injured reserve for the whole season, it seems like, because he needs multiple surgeries. But, trading Nick Waugh, that's a tough one, too, because he's a physical player, and you need that physicality because the defense was giving up massive scoring chances. A lot of people are pointing fingers at Aiden Hill. It wasn't just Aiden Hill. I mean, there were massive, monstrous scoring chances for, the playoff opponents in these series, and that's why they were eliminated in the second round by Edmonton. And very difficult to stomach that. If your defense isn't playing well, Jack Eichel is non-existent. You need something to help him. Mitch Marner would have been an answer, but I don't think they're going to get him. I think other teams now will start getting into the mix, and you're going to hear a lot of different trade offers for this guy. And Montreal looks solid, Alex. I think they're definitely a playoff team. Couple of more acquisitions, and they're going to be right there in the division. You saw how strong they were at the end of last season. They made that tremendous playoff push. And, Nick Suzuki led the way. He's a monster. You look at his stats over the last 2 years, they're just incredible, and he flies under the radar. I know Vegas is definitely scratching their head over that trade for Max Pacioretty, but that's how the NHL is.
And again, for Vegas, like you said, Dwayne, Haig goes from Vegas to Nashville, big contract, not much of a shock. It'll be interesting to see everything with Marner because it really just sounds like the Maple Leafs are crying wolf more so than anything. Let's be real.
Well, they can't stand that he doesn't want to play there.
Well,
that's the whole thing. And this is what Toronto, it's a losing tradition, even though, like you said, Jeff, they were the closest team to beating the Florida Panthers.
They should have beat the
Panthers.
Panthers.
When you lay the cards on the table, they were the only team that had a chance. And I know I'm not rubbing salt in your wounds, but
no, you're not.
Once that falls apart and you don't have the locker room. You don't have your players supporting you. Austin Matthews disappeared in the playoffs. A lot of fingers are going to get pointed, and a lot of players are going to get disgruntled and want to move around. And, that could happen with Connor McDavid, too. These are superstar players that are leading their team, and it's so disappointing to lose in the same fashion. When you get into a pattern of losing 3, 4, 5 years, you start to get a little upset, and definitely that could happen even here in Las Vegas. And we've played lights out since this franchise has started. I don't think guys like Jack Eichel start to get upset, but you have to retool your roster. I mean, Mark Stone is getting very old. You have all these big contracts that didn't pan out. You got guys like Hurdle and, some of the other offensive weapons, but Mitch Marner puts you off the charts, and you definitely then have 2 of the possible top 15 players in the NHL because I consider Jack a top 5 player in the league when he's firing firing on all cylinders. So, there's going to be a lot of different tooling and different maneuvers. Toronto, though, it's the same old story. They just can't get to those cup finals. They're trying to build, and they're doing the right, maneuvers at times, but it doesn't transpire on the ice. And, they still have goaltender problems. They got to figure out the Tavares situation, Mitch Marner situation. You got to get some assets for this guy. Don't just give him away. It's very important that you get something in return, because we're seeing a pattern in, so many sports where superstars just go places for nothing. And Luka started, didn't start the trend, but it was definitely a head scratcher. And you see this happen throughout sports, even today with the Jalen Ramsey deal. So we'll see how it pans out, but the NHL is great. The best time of the season is NHL playoffs, and these teams are going to be fired up. Florida is built to last. I mean, you've seen they signed Bennett to the long contract. They're going to be around for years and years, and definitely a dynasty there in the making, if not already.
3 straight cup appearances, 2 cups in a row, off to a darn good start for dynastic things down there in South Florida. He's Dwayne Kawuchi. Get him on the tweets. MyBookie Dwayne up at the Rampart, Race and Sportsbook Director up in lovely Summerlin at the Rampart. DC, thank you. We'll see you again next week.
Definitely. See you guys on Monday, and have a great 4th of July weekend. Be safe. Well. Enjoy it with your family. And we'll take a little hiatus, but the best show on radio and on the internet will be continuing, rolling on like a thunderous train. Sports by the book. Jeff and Alex, the best.
The thundering train. I like that. You know what? That's got to go in the promo next week. DC, thanks, buddy. We will see Dwayne a week from today. We will take a break. When we get back, we'll go through the baseball card. Quick hitters. Only 8 games here on the card here today, and a quick glance at all the awards as well, which, let's be real with ourselves, of the 4 major ones, it's pretty much locked up for at least 3 of those 4, and one's in pretty darn good shape as it is already. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza. Plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book. Over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the Book, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Getting ready for baseball here on a Monday, but first, a quick hello to the chat on a Monday.
A quick check-in here. Keith Lyle did jump in and say most fun he had was watching UFC 317. I have to agree with that. A lot of chalk, though. Some of our dogs did not get there, but very happy with Dariush getting that win. Attila, welcome. It was a very fun week at the Las Vegas ballpark with the Aviators. Happy to see you joining us here. And then Roger Long, Dean Hilt, Nick, the usuals, welcome in. And thanks for chiming in the chat.
Final day of June. Nick's already clinched the trivia, but trivia's in there. I think we already had the answer, but we'll get that a little bit later in the show. All right, let's go to baseball, Alex. We begin in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Phillies, Padres. Phillies just took 2 out of 3 against Atlanta. Padres this is the thing with these NL West teams right now. Giants, who I think for their own sake, they're not off, but boy, going to have to get themselves right in Arizona. Padres nearly got no hit on Friday, got Saturday, and then got walked off yesterday. So they lose 2 out of 3 in Cincy. Padres on the outside looking in entering today. They currently are team number 7 in the NL. Phillies leading the NL East by 1.5 games, and they throw their ace Zach Wheeler against Matt Waldron, the knuckleballer making his first start of the year for San Diego. Wheeler's a big favorite, minus 220. Total of 9. It's hot again in Philadelphia today, Alex.
Yeah, not crazy about Matt Waldron jumping in right here. Has not had the best rehab in AAA in El Paso. It gave up 5 earned runs on 2 2/3 against Reno. So that makes me a little bit nervous. He's had some really good starts before that, and we do know the PCL is a higher scoring league. So don't want to hold too much against that, but I do think Zach Wheeler is the right side here. Also, what I'm seeing, Bryce Harper should be back in the lineup. He did travel with the Phillies in Atlanta, didn't play, obviously, but should be back in the lineup today at home. So I think Phillies is the right side. It's a huge price you have to pay, and we know their lineup has struggled, even though they scored 13 in the first one, just 1 and 2 in their win yesterday. So I don't know. It's a tough play. I think you'd have to just go run line if you were going to do anything and take a shot. I don't trust the Padres in general, lineup or bullpen right now. They've just had so many injuries with their pitchers. So Phillies are passed for me.
Harper hopes to be activated today. That was as of last night. If he's not back, they expect him back in this series. So the wind is blowing out. Not a bad time to bring him back here today if he's ready to go. He had a workout yesterday in Atlanta, and the quotes were great. Take whatever you want from that for Harper. All right, we go to Pittsburgh next. Pirates just destroyed the Mets for 3 straight games. The Pirate offense that has been dormant all year put up 30 in 3 games. Yeah, look, baseball provides some wacky stuff from time to time, to put it politely. The throw Andrew Haney today. Cardinals, of course, coming off a sweep of their own as well. Redbirds are right now the 3rd wild card in the NL, as we all expected after 85 games. Fetty and Heaney, this is a Pirate favorite at minus 110, total of 9. That had more to do with the Mets than the Pirates this past weekend. The Met pitching just has simultaneously imploded since the Senga injury about 2.5 weeks ago. I would be only looking at the Cardinals here, and I would be interested to see if I can get an even by the time this game starts, Alex.
This is one of the toughest games on the board for me, really. Want to trust both pitchers and go under full game here, but I really can't get there with, like you said, I mean, these 2 offenses have both been red hot over the last 7 days. So I know that both of these pitchers have the potential to get hit. And we know both of them are coming off of their worst starts. So we'll see if they can have a bounce back. But it makes me nervous because Fetty, he pitched a gem against Pittsburgh the first time, 6 innings, no earned runs. So that, I think they might be able to get to him this time. I'm going to stay away. I have no strong conviction either way, side or total.
Next up, we go to Arizona. The Diamondbacks just got swept by Miami at home. The Giants have lost 5 out of 6 to the Marlins and the White Sox. That is not what you want when you're in the heat of again, to be competitive. Giants, again, the Devers trade I really thought was, all right, this is going to keep them in the hunt. They're still in the hunt, obviously, but was going to be able, all right, maybe they're even able to compete with the Dodgers in the NL West.
Right.
They've been well underwater with Devers so far. They're 3-5 in the 8 games with Devers. Alex, it hasn't happened. They've struggled to hit as well with him in the lineup. And it's Webb today. This is a good spot for Logan Webb to be stopper. Diamondbacks have not looked the same without Corbin Carroll. Ryan Nelson goes tonight at Chase Field, plus 15 on Arizona, 8.5 your total.
You're right. The Diamondbacks have not looked the same without Corbin Carroll. And then their bullpen has just really given up games for them. So I think the best way to play this, take the bullpen out of it. I always like to back Logan Webb. Ryan Nelson's been really good, especially his last 3 starts, gone 5 innings, just given up 1 earned run and 2, 0 in that first one against the Padres. So I think he can do good in this one, at least for the first 5. And then if they pull him in the 6th, that's fine with me. But we're getting a flat 4 here, first 5 under. I don't hate the Giants side as well, of course. I do think that Logan Webb is the better pitcher of the 2, but I think we'll be okay here. Flat 4, getting some plus money there.
No problem with that. Again, Webb, best pitcher by far for San Francisco, as we've talked about all year long. All right, we go to Toronto next. Max Scherzer against Carlos Rodon. Big series between the Blue Jays and the Yankees. Jays only 3 behind New York entering today. Max Scherzer, by the way, is a home underdog for the first time since 2021, which is interesting because Max has not been the same since 2023 is wrapped around. Rodon's $1.40 plus 25 on the Jays, total 8.5. Alex is a complete stay off for me here today.
I really like the Yankees side here. I'm a little bit shocked, maybe that because what you just said, Max Scherzer, you're getting plus money, and that's why we've seen the line move that way. I'd like to wait until I can get the best price. I mean, minus 135 maybe here on the Yankees. I think $1.40 is pretty cheap for them. So, I mean, Carlos Rodon's been very good. Looking at his median numbers on the year, it's just 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched. On the other side, Max Scherzer's 3 and 2 earned runs given up. Yankees turn things around, starting to hit again. So I definitely think that is the correct side.
Yankees again only entering today with a 1.5 lead on Tampa. Toronto 3 behind. Toronto and Tampa both in the postseason. And that right now you see right on your screen. Only 6 teams are over 500 in the American League. The complete mediocrity has allowed a lot of teams to hang around and normally would be out of it. The Angels, 2 games back of Seattle, entering today for that final wild card. The Angels are off. Speaking of the Rays, they get the Athletics here today, the Ray A Bowl in Tampa. Rasmussen and Lopez today. Drew's a minus 65 favorite for Tampa, plus 150 on the homeless Athletics. Total of 8 down at Steinbrenner Field. That is a low total for that ballpark, but just keeping in mind here today, you know what? Interesting. It was supposed to be cooler, but it's not going to be that much cooler. It's going to be 78 with the wind blowing out. I'm a little bit perplexed by that total here today.
I think just the time of the game, right?
Yeah,
it's
7:30. But
yeah, that was my assumption. But I think this is one of my favorite plays of the day. I'm going Tampa Bay team total over. It is 4.5. That's what they have here at the South Point. So if you can get even better, shop around if you can get a 4, because it's even money to the over at that 4.5. But as much as I like Jacob Lopez, I'm just got to trust this Tampa Bay team to keep swinging the bat and keep hitting. And I think they're going to do that back at home here. On the other side, I would just go full game over. Like you said, it's an 8. But Drew Rasmussen's been very good for this team. His median numbers, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts to just 1 walk. I think he's going to have a good outing here at home, which his numbers are better at home on the year. 2.16 ERA and a sub-1 whip. So definitely like that side. Didn't love that price. So I'm going with team total.
I can't really blame you there, Alex. Again, the A's have, ever since only being a game under 500 in the middle of May, have just completely fallen off the cliff now, 34-52. Obviously, all the talent's down in AAA, as you guys know very well right now, Alex. All right, let's go to Texas next. Baltimore and Texas, Rogers and Corbin. 8.5 your total at Globe Light. Baltimore, a small road favorite in this one at -115.
It's funny. We just saw this matchup. These two both pitched in that game. Patrick Corbin, got hit up pretty good. 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs on 9 hits. And on the other side, Trevor Rogers pitched very well. 8 innings for him, no earned runs. I got to assume it would go the other way. Patrick Corbin would be better back at home here. So it's a lean to the Rangers being back home, and even the under, because, I mean, we've just seen so many games go under here for Texas. So lean to the Rangers, lean to the under. Not confident about either one.
Going to Seattle next, it's going to be George Kirby and Michael Wacha. Royals finally won a home game, but they did lose the series to the Dodgers over the weekend. Kirby's $1.50 up at T-Mobile tonight, +35 on Kansas City, 7.5 your total. Mariners, as we said, already entering the day as the third wild card in the American League.
I think the only way to play it is taking a little bit of the dog in this one. I really like George Kirby, and his last start was definitely the best start since coming back. Just 1 earned run on 6 innings pitched against the Twins, but the Twins don't really scare me offensively, so I want to see him do that again here against the Royals. But again, I don't trust the Royals that much, although they've been better on the road than at home, so it could be a spot for them. But I'm going to pass on it as well, but if anything, I would probably take a shot with the underdog.
Can't blame you. It's a good price, even though the Royals, again, just horrible over the last month plus, and that whole AL Central, that Alex just not even 6 weeks, 4 weeks ago had 4 teams over 500, and that is autocorrect. That is auto and overcorrected. Pretty amazing how quickly that has just flipped around for Kansas City and Seattle. Again, the matchup here today. All right, last one, game behind us. Reds and Red Sox. It's Garrett Crochet against the phenom Chase Burns for Cincinnati. Burns obviously pitched look, stuff was electric. Had 1 bad inning that really popped his numbers up. Struck out 8 over 5 innings. Again, that 5th inning really Burns kind of got gassed. The adrenaline wore off. -65 on Boston, +50 on Cincinnati. Total 7.5 at the Fens tonight.
My dad likes to fade these guys going into their second start right in the bigs, but man, I really just like what we saw in his first few innings and all those strikeouts. So I do think he can pitch relatively well here, especially with the Red Sox offense that has not been great. If anything, it's first 5 under, trusting both of these pitchers, especially because Garrett Crochet has really flipped the switch and just been on. 7 innings pitched, 0 earned runs in his last start against the Angels. I think he'll be able to slow down this red-hot Reds team, but no strong conviction. Lean to the home team as well, though. I think that's a pretty cheap price on Garrett Crochet.
That's not a bad one. First 5 would be the one that I would be looking for. But again, we go back to what I was saying the other day. These $1.35 half a runs that's just not a good price, especially when you got Burns on the other side, who is more than capable of. Again, it's just a matter of stamina holding up.
Right.
I would be. Boy, if it was $1.20, I'd go for it. There is $1.25 that I would consider first 5 on Crochet, if you want to take a shot and just not worry about bullpens tonight.
Right.
It should be, and actually, first 5 under 4 might be the play. Now that I'm talking myself into it.
I think so.
Across the board. All right, let's look at some awards markets real quick, Alex. Well, Ryan, let's start with comedy. Let's go to the American League MVP first. The Judge guy's pretty good, right? And this is even with, just keep in mind, Cal Raleigh is having a historic season right now. And Judge, look, is not as big of a favorite as he was a few weeks ago because of what Cal Raleigh is doing. Judge is down to a -900. He was as high as -10,000 not too long ago. I mean, Judge's average has fallen 40 points in the last few weeks, but when your average is 396, all it takes is a bad 5 days and it's going to fall. Raleigh is on pace to have the best power year ever for a catcher. Raleigh also is the first Mariner since Ken Griffey Jr. to have 30 home runs before the All-Star break. Look, your time was a few weeks ago if you were going to bet Cal Raleigh.
Yeah.
And the other thing of note, as you could see, if you're looking to bet anyone that isn't Aaron Judge, the better numbers at FanDuel. If you're looking FanDuel DraftKings right now. Alex, you missed the boat on Raleigh. That would have been the only bet to make about 3 weeks ago when you were getting about 35, 40 to 1. Now you missed it. I just can't do anything here.
It is really impressive the year that he is having. I mean, he is responsible for so many of those runs and helping those Mariners really hang around and get some of these wins. So it's a two-horse race. You can see that. The next numbers just drop off, but it's going to be tough not to give it to Aaron Judge.
It's just hard to, I mean, at this rate, the only interesting one would be, do we see something creative from the voters with Scooble? That would be the only thing that I would be intrigued by. A guy who's having a year like Scooble, do you do the Cy MVP double? That usually only happens when you don't have a position player that is at a true MVP level. You have two guys who are at an MVP level at the moment, obviously, Judge and Raleigh. Again, any other year other than maybe last year, Raleigh's your favorite, and Raleigh's probably about $3 right now. Just that Judge got off to such an outrageous start. NL side of things, it all yet again goes through Shohei Ohtani for the second consecutive year in the National League, and it kind of just comes back to what we said a few weeks ago when we talked about this. The number 2 guy to me is Freddie Freeman, and I just don't see a path where the voters, all right, if you're going to go Dodger, you're voting Ohtani.
Yeah.
Like it's just the way that it is. Minus 1,200 on Ohtani at this point. As you see the numbers, PCA's 30 to 1 at FanDuel against Shop. Soto, who's had a big month of June, even coinciding with the Mets' awful month, he's at 30 to 1. There's no argument. Acuna's not going to play enough baseball like realistic having, and the Braves are on the way to missing the playoffs. There's just no argument. Just no argument for anyone other Ohtani other than maybe PCA, but I wouldn't do it at this point.
I don't think there's any argument anymore because even we talked about maybe Ohtani fatigue, but now he's pitching again. So there's absolutely no way you can really make a case that they are going to be tired of awarding this guy. So, I mean, I think that number is correct for Ohtani.
Yeah, there's no voter fatigue.
Yeah.
That is always a thing that we talk about, especially in the NBA. We talk about voter fatigue all the time. But this, again, the choice, and this is not to besmirch what PCA or Kyle Tucker or Nando are doing. It's hard to compete when Ohtani is going to realistically lead the league in homers. Oh, and by the way, he's starting to look pretty effective on the mound on top of it. It's just a very difficult path in order to go with. We'll keep it in the NL. Let's go to the NL side next because the AL side is kind of like this at this rate, at least even though the numbers may not dictate it. Really, at this point, it's just a matter of, can you get there on Zach Wheeler over Paul Skeens, at least on my book? There are other arguments you could be looking at. Maybe Logan Webb gets hot. Maybe Christopher Sanchez continues a great start, but it's a 2-horse race at this point. It's Skeens and Wheeler. Yeah. Skeens is a $2 favorite. Wheeler's at plus 400. Those are the only 2 guys that I think are realistic winners at this rate, and it would only be a take of Wheeler's 4 to 1 price, especially if Wheeler throws a gem tonight against the Padres. That number is not going to exist for much longer.
That's true. I mean, but man, we missed the best of his number. We
sure
talked
did.
about this a month ago, and I'm pretty intrigued there with Luzardo actually at 80 to 1. I think he's having just as good of a year as Christopher Sanchez. There must be some numbers that point otherwise, and really it's probably strikeouts because that seems to help the most in this award. But yeah, I mean, it's so tough. But Paul Skeens, we have seen, he had one bad inning just the other day. So I think you could make a case for another pitcher. I think this is probably the only award one that you can.
Of the big 4? Yeah, I would say so for sure. Again, we don't have numbers for a graphic for the AL rookie or the NL rookie. The NL rookie race is the one that's wide open in comparison to Jacob Wilson, unless if he gets hurt in the AL rookie. But this is the only other one of the other 4s. Ryan, you can flip to the AL side of things, especially after last night, what Scooble did By the way, Ranger Suarez is 50-1 at FanDuel when he's 90 at DraftKings. That's interesting. But on the AL side of things, I mean, look, it's Scooble in front of everybody last night on Sunday Night Baseball, put together arguably his best. Well, it's his second best start because the complete game was his best start. But he's only minus 190. And I know, look, Hunter Brown's been awesome. Most years he'd be your favorite. Crochet's been high end. Your free ticket, which was a great ticket, I don't think has much of a chance, and that's not his fault. But I think Tariq Skubal, I know, look, it's pitchers. There's always injuries that are in play. But Skubal shy at $2, I think is darn good value. If he even slows down just slightly, there's no path for anyone else. Yeah. He's going to be the best player, the best pitcher on the best team in the American League. I know he won it last year, but he's been much better this year than he was a year ago, and he was spectacular last year, Alex.
I'm actually surprised. I didn't know that he was still such a good price there. I agree with you. I do think that is a great price on him. He is having an outstanding year. He is even better than last year, and what we are seeing in the last few starts is pretty incredible. So it would be very, very hard for voters to give it to anybody else.
It's just, I'm stunned at that price. I'm stunned that Skeens is a bigger price than Skubal. That does not compute to me. I know there's less options. It's a wider race in the American League, even like going all the way down to DeGrom and look, even Framber would be way shorter in the NL. Yeah. But it just, Skubal's been dominant. Skubal's been the best pitcher in baseball by margin this year, across the board.
Yes.
All right.
Agreed.
That's our check-in of the awards on the final day here in the final day of June. So we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, the whiteboard trivia answer. We wrap it up on a Monday. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over 13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the Book. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
We're back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, wrapping things up here on a Monday morning. So here you go, Alex. It's a basketball question. On this date in 2019, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Jordan, and Kyrie Irving all signed up with the Brooklyn Nets. Boy, did that not work. On the first day of NBA free agency, what 3 universities did these guys play at? So, should be able to get the 2 pretty easily. Of course, KD, Texas. Kyrie Irving, Duke. DeAndre Jordan, Texas A&M. There you go. All first-round picks. Of course, Irving went number 1. Kevin Durant went number 2 behind Greg Oden in 2007. And then, of course, DeAndre Jordan, a lottery pick himself in Texas A&M. And Nick, with the exclamation point to the month of June, gets it done. And Nick, you're already clinched your championship as he puts the exclamation point. And we start over tomorrow. So 2 months for JR, 1 for Nick. See if a new champion is crowned in July or Nick evens JR at 2 in the month of July. There we go. All right. Whiteboard time, Alex.
All right. I've got 4 for you today. It's going to be a good day. I'm putting it out there. 4-0. So I'm going Giants and Diamondbacks under 4 in the first 5 with Logan Webb, Ryan Nelson. They really need Ryan Nelson. Pitching staff has been down on a lot of injuries, so he's got to step up here for Arizona. We love Logan Webb, of course, on the other side. I'm going with the Yankees. Carlos Rodon on the bump, minus 140. I think that's a very cheap price. I put or better because people are taking Scherzer and the hot Blue Jays on the other side. But I think this is a statement game for the Yankees here. The Rays team total, I'm going over here, 4.5. They've continued to stay hot, Tampa Bay. So let's get 5 runs there in that one. And then Reds and Red Sox, great pitching matchup. Let's see what we get from Chase Burns. And we got Garrett Crochet on the other side. I'm going under 4, first 5 for that one.
There we go. There's the card. Alex going 4-0. She spoke it into existence. That's what we're going to get here today for the Major League Baseball card. All right. We're back tomorrow. Fun week ahead. Short week for us. 4th of July on Friday. We'll be off, but we'll be here the rest of the week. Tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday right here on Sports by the Book. Ryan, Jerry, Vince, and Drew Dog, thank you all. Happy birthday to Sean, who is not here today. But a happy birthday to Sean here on the final day of June.
Do we have any confetti, Ryan? No?
We might have to save it for next week when he's here. We'll make sure you're here, Alex. We'll do it a day that we're all here next week. Get the confetti. Get Sean a nice party hat. Maybe he'll fit his head better than mine because it's very tiny for a few weeks ago. We'll see you again tomorrow. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.